Hello everyone, my name is Enclave Emily, and today, while still recovering from my 5 surgeries, yes, 5 surgeries in the span of 3 weeks, I want to give you some reasons to not pre-order video games. Much like I did in my 5 misconceptions about the Fallout franchise video, I want to give you a small list of examples to make my case. We have become very forgiving of pre-orders and the state of pre-order culture. But still, no matter how many times games release poorly, and no matter how many times we have examples of people regretting pre-ordering, en masse that is, people still do it and people still actively defend it. So here's my small list of 5 reasons why you should not pre-order video games. Let's start off with an easy one. Battlefield 2042 was one of those games that was very obviously going to have problems on launch in just about every single aspect that you could come up with. From trailers obviously not running at a consistent frame rate, to user interfaces that everyone could see were fucking weird, to gameplay showcases that outright didn't look right, to the history of the developer, DICE, being full of terrible releases, infamous releases even, going all the way back to Battlefield 3 in like 2011, to a beta so absolutely broken that it clogged up every single person's YouTube feed with showcases of how bad it was, to excuses from people and developers and publishers that are known for lying that made outright no sense, such as the beta being an older build a few months away from actual release, which in case you don't know is not how that works. When it comes to a beta, Battlefield 2042 was just one of those games that you really should have been able to tell was going to be horrible on launch. You didn't even have to be a skeptic or a pre-order skeptic in general to be able to tell that it was going to have significant issues. And people raised this concern, and in the case of Battlefield 2042, some people did actually listen, but most, again, still didn't, and you were still a terrible person, a hater, and an annoying bitch if you so much as suggested the notion of people waiting, I don't know, maybe a week before buying it to see if the game was actually good. Lo and behold, the now live service Battlefield 2042 comes out, and it's one of the worst releases in Battlefield history, if not outright the worst, beating out even Battlefield 4's terrible launch state. Physics that just outright didn't work. Game design that was so antithetical to what Battlefield was known and beloved for, such as the specialist class and the stupidly large maps that have no reason to be as large as they are. To servers just outright not functioning if played at a reasonable amount of people. Not even at max capacity, just medium capacity. To bugs out the ass such as watercraft sticking to buildings or some shit, and helicopters and planes as well. To you not even being able to shoot the enemies in the shooter game, to so many other problems that I literally outright don't have the time to talk about in this fucking video, such as lacking basic functionalities, such as being able to have a party, to organize your games with your friends. Battlefield 2042's launch state caused a lot of uproar, and you know what? I don't know why. Criticisms were mandatory, basically, because this should not be excused, yes, but the fact that anyone at all was fucking surprised by the launch state of Battlefield 2042 is amazing to me, because people got the chance to see how absolutely fucked it was from a developer and publisher known for this exact thing, and somehow people were still surprised. But to the surprise of nobody, its terrible launch state meant that a lot of promises couldn't be kept. The game only became properly playable way fucking later on, and even in that playable state, it's still not as good of a game as it was promised, and as good as other Battlefield games were, leading to pathetically low player counts for a supposedly live service game and pathetically low player counts for a Battlefield game, frequently being beat out by other Battlefield games that came out almost a decade ago or sometimes over a decade ago. Are you surprised? If the answer is yes, then you're retarded. If the answer is no, then you're reasonable. And honestly, Battlefield 2042 just by itself should be enough of an argument to never pre-order any game whatsoever. But unfortunately, we need more reminders, so let's go get some other ones, shall we? Yeah, you knew this one was gonna be in here, didn't you? Any game that Bethesda touches is basically guaranteed to be in a terrible state when it first comes out. And, well, nowadays, basically forever, you know? And before you say, oh, Fallout 76 wasn't specifically developed by Bethesda, you can already shut the fuck up and get the hell out of this video with that one. Because Fallout 76 was advertised as and is intrinsically linked to Bethesda, so fuck off with that. But Fallout 76's advertisement should have been enough. Fallout 76 was advertised by a proven liar already at the time, known as a a liar, Todd Howard, who just loved to exaggerate things such as 16 times the detail, remember that one, and was so ambitious that even back then, before I was more present, in discussions of this kind, I could only laugh at when seeing, because all of the claims and promises just sounded absolutely retarded coming from this fucking studio that sold you horse armor back in the day, wanting you to so desperately buy into the hype and buy into it and give Todd Howard money, just give Todd Howard the fucking money already, that really, people should have just waited a day or two before actually buying just to make sure that it wasn't some trash. It was advertised as Fallout 4 but open world, with a lot of things to do, infinite fucking gameplay, or basically infinite gameplay, so much detail, so much immersion, and the fucking pre-order bonuses and all those other bullshit promises that Todd Howard loves to throw out and never deliver on. Lo and behold, Fallout 76 comes out, and it's a buggy piece of shit that barely functions, is boring, has nothing to do in, and a lot of the quests are just repeated. Reskins of other quests, in other words, copy-pasted quests, that not only fucked with the lore of Fallout, but fucked with what you were supposed to be doing in Fallout, which was role-playing, because you couldn't role-play properly in the role-playing game, because the way it was built disincentivized active role-playing. And even if all of that wasn't the case, even if everything I just mentioned wasn't the case, the game itself did not function. So much so that people could accidentally break the game to the point where they would be banned, such as by accidentally entering the fucking dev room. Bethesda would ban you for it, and then to be unbanned, you had to write an essay. Remember that shit? There just wasn't that much to do in the actual game, or motivation to actually do that much in the actual game. Such as fighting other players in the game where you're supposed to fight other players. Or there was no motivation to actually do quests in the game that, you know, you're supposed to be doing quests in. It was just a bad fucking game, and to this day, it still has some of the issues that people criticized it on launch for. Such as quests being little more than active delivery missions or shooting galleries. And you know what? The shooting in the game is also not very good from what I understand, so there's that. But I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I also didn't mention the fucking broken promises and pre-order bonuses. Such as a nylon bag that was so cheaply made it wasn't even from the same fucking material as advertised. A power armor helmet that was so terribly made that it could develop mold and actually fucking kill you. Yes, a lie so blatant that it could actively get you killed for or put in the hospital for. To the microtransactions that weren't supposed to be in the game and are now in the game. Remember when there weren't gonna be any microtransactions in the game and then it was just cosmetic only and now it became pay to progress properly or pay to win outright? I do, but evidently a lot of people don't. All of this could have been avoided if people had just waited one day before buying the game, because the lies became apparent very fucking quickly. And Todd Howard and Bethesda at large were largely memed on almost instantly, with songs being created to meme on it. And entire countries brute forcing fucking returns for false advertisement and lawsuits about false advertisement. From a guy who lied so hard that he almost killed you or put you in the hospital. There's no way people would believe him again, right? Right?
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is?
Yeah, I had to mention Starfield, I just had to. Now look, I don't give a shit if you like Starfield, if you have fun in it or not, but you have to be out of this planet if you legitimately believe that Starfield delivered on all of the promises that were made about it. If you do, you're probably still coping about having spent $250 on it. Because yes, you could fucking pre-order it for $250 fucking dollars. First, you have the misconceptions that people ran with in advertising, which was the 25 years in the making nonsense, that actually just meant that Bethesda wanted to do a space game for 25 years and not that it was 25 years in the making. That's more of a misunderstanding and a misconception that people rode with, but then it is Bethesda's fault, you know? But what is Bethesda and Todd Howard's fault is basically everything else. First, they kept trying to remind people of the fact that there are 1,000 planets in the game. They kept repeating it because it's not a lie, but it just gives you the wrong idea. Because not only can you not visit all of those 1,000 planets, but only 10% of them around that have actual life in them. Meaning that in 900 planets, i.e. an overwhelming majority, assuming you can visit all of them, were just spaces for you to walk around in. As if it's fucking Gmod Sandbox, but with a lot of less freedom. The planets that did have life in them were more often than not just basically copy-pasted from one another, such as insect creatures that looked remarkably similar to one another and behaved exactly the same. Not always, but very frequently. And the planets themselves were also a lie, because it was advertised advertised as you being able to freely walk around the planets and explore all of them. This was an outright lie. Because what you could actually do is that the game would procedurally generate a square for you to walk around in, maybe procedurally generate a building or something to look at, and then have nothing to do in it. Only maybe a handful of planets, maybe a dozen or so, actually had things for you to explore, look around, and custom built, to the point where it was actually interesting, and an overwhelming, crushing majority of the stuff that there is to actually explore and look at in the game is just generated by a computer. Not interesting, or there's outright nothing to see or do. So a game where the majority of the content is literally nothing. That's fantastic. What else? Space exploration, of course. Fly around in space freely, kind of like in No Man's Sky, remember? No Man's Sky? Yeah, just get on your spaceship that you can customize and fly around in space freely. Travel in space. How do you travel in space? Do you actually pilot? No, it's a loading screen simulator. Because even if you're not fast traveling, the game forces you to go into multiple loading screens, and when you're landing on the planet, it's another loading screen, so there's no point in actually flying to them. Because if you do, you clip through the planets. Or you're forced into a loading screen. So great, I was advertised that I would be getting a space exploration game when there is no space exploration to be done. That's great. In a game where most of the content was developed by a computer and its content is literally nothing. As if that's supposed to be a good thing. What about the actual content? Oh, really? A lot of fetch quests, delivery missions, and procedurally generated nonsense. Great, great, just fucking great. A game that was advertised as having a million things to do and a million things to see where there is nothing to do and nothing to see. Fucking great. Fantastic. Lovely. And people were fucking rabid defending pre-ordering for this game. Not even the game itself. The rabid defending pre-orders. Look at my Starfield is going to disappoint you video. If you want to see how people were fucking behaving if you so much as questioned the notion of buying into the hype. People acted as if you had tortured Jesus Christ himself if you claimed that Starfield was going to be disappointing and not live up to the hype. Guess who was right? Me, of course, because that's a habit of mine. And the gaslighting that took place in the few weeks after the game launched was fucking insane as well. But it's become settled now that Starfield was a disappointing game. Even if people still enjoy it, even if it's not an outright terrible game, people have begun to agree and settle with the notion that it was an overhyped game. But if you so much as suggested that this would be the case back then, you would be fucking lynched from a tree. By people who probably enjoy wasting all of their fucking money on garbage and loading screens. Ah, yes, I just had to mention this one. I'm sorry if it disappoints you that this is here, but I have to mention it. I have never been one of the people that actively plays with the argument that Call of Duty is a yearly copy and paste. People have been making the Call of Duty copy-paste argument and meme for fucking over a decade now, and you know what? I've never been one to actively buy into it. But Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 proved that that argument is true and does make actual sense. Because despite the fact that you're already supposed to know what you're getting into with Call of Duty, it managed to maybe, I think, beat Call of Duty Ghosts. Because at least with Call of Duty Ghosts, you weren't literally playing completely rehashed content. A good chunk of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's campaign is not only filled with the exact same guns you've already used before, in Modern Warfare 2 Remaster and in Warzone. Actually, that's the same thing in multiplayer, so there's multiplayer as well when it comes to the guns. But a lot of the maps were also in other Call of Duty games, down to the fucking pixel. Not even remasters of the maps, just blatant copy-paste of the maps. Down to the point where a good chunk of the campaign was just open zone missions, which were just repurposed, reused maps that were present in other games, filled with generic missions and maybe one or two main objectives, that function primarily as busy work to pad out the game time. Call of Duty also has the famous / infamous No Russian mission in Modern Warfare 2, the original, and the new No Russian mission that was advertised was just overhyped nonsense that actually felt scared that it would shock the player. The old No Russian mission? Fuck you, just do it. The game didn't care if you were shocked or not. This new No Russian mission? Mostly a quick time event that felt scared to actually involve you in it. Just disappointing, pathetic, and a waste of time and money. Oh, also, as people would later find out, the game was built mostly on Modern Warfare 2 stuff and was basically developed in no time. Literally just copy and paste. Down to the point where if you play it on PlayStation, it has the exact same achievements and runs off of the base exact same achievements as Modern Warfare 2. I'm not fucking kidding, look it up. But you know what the game does have a lot of? Microtransactions. Yay, pay for gun skins. Keep doing that. Yay, I'm fucking sick of it. Next point, let's just go to the next one. The final reason to not pre-order is not a game. You see, I'm breaking expectations here, aren't I? I'm not delivering on what I've led you to believe I'm delivering, like 90% of modern game releases. But unlike modern game releases, I'm not charging you out the ass for it, because this final reason not to pre-order is your wallet. I could come up with other examples of games that function as reasons for you not to pre-order, but really, I just want to add this in as the last one. Your fucking wallet. And other people's wallets and experiences as well. I don't know if you're rich, but to most people, money is fucking precious and scarce. There isn't money for everything. You might want to use that money for literally anything else during the month, such as buying other games that you know are gonna be good. Or, you know, food, clothes, movies, other pieces of entertainment. Instead, you commit money based on what someone else has said. You spend money based on a promise made by someone else, another person. And people can lie. You can lie, I can lie, your neighbor can lie, or give you the wrong impression. Those 60 to 70 bucks are still 60 to 70 bucks that you're gonna spend if you want to buy the actual game. Those pre-order bonuses you're probably gonna be able to find elsewhere, eventually, such as on eBay, if it's a physical thing. And by simply waiting, you don't reward potential liars that will lie to you in the future if you show that you are willing to give money early. And you also save money, because you can't return every game nowadays, and all the pre-order stuff that comes with it, if it's fucking digital or, you know, whatever. So you save money in the long run, you don't reward liars, and you don't reward liars that will also lie to other people who want to enjoy games that aren't broken, buggy pieces of shit that are overhyped, and don't deliver on promises and expectations. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I love that franchise. I love playing Sonic games, but I have not pre-ordered a Sonic game in over a fucking decade. And you know what? I've been rewarded for it. Because now, every Sonic game that's coming out fucking delivers, and I still don't pre-order anyway. Because I don't want to risk slipping back into a culture of where the people that are selling me a game get complacent and start lying to me. Like they did back in 2017 with Sonic Forces, but that's not for this video. And some of the pre-order bonuses for a recent Sonic game, Sonic Superstars, are now available to everybody. So there's that. There's that. I saved money and now have that content, which is a skin, by simply being patient. And those were 5 reasons to not pre-order games. What did you think? Did I miss any? Do you have any examples you want me to bring up in the future? Did I explain my points properly? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I do read every single comment, and would love to know your opinions, and I mean it when I say that. Wish me a speedy recovery, and you know what? I'll stop talking now. Thank you guys for watching.